They should come on here.
You want Brister in here now?
You'll be able to tell because they'll unmute theirs.
Can y'all hear us? Can y'all hear us? Can't hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, great. Okay, the Committee on Parole is called to order. Today's date is August 22nd, 24, and the time is 9:07 a.m. My name is Danny Barra, the chairman today. My colleagues on today's panel are Ms. Ledoux to my left and Mr. Freeman to my right. The panel today at DOC headquarters is all right. Our remote location today is Rayburn Correctional Center. Would the staff there please identify themselves?
Warden Travis Day.
Jennifer Victor, Tracy Taylor.
Jennifer Ellington.
All right. Mr. Brister, would you please give me your full name and your DOC number?
311532, Joseph Brister.
All right. I'm gonna give you a brief explanation of the process. I'm gonna read some information to the record, ask you to verify it. We're gonna give you a chance to speak and tell us what you did that caused your incarceration and why you should be released. The warden at the facility is gonna speak. We'll allow 3 supporters and 3 in opposition. The district attorney will make a statement and then we'll conduct the interview. So your case has been assigned to me. Today we have for parole consideration Joseph Brister, DOC number 311532. You're a third felony offender who's been convicted of simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling, unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling, habitual offender, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, illegal use of a weapon, habitual offender. And on October 27th, 06 and November 9th, 07, you were sentenced to serve 5 years hard labor, 12 years hard labor, 40 years hard labor, plus 15 years hard labor in St. Tammany Parish. Your parole eligibility date is March 20th, 25. Your good time date is March 7th, 45. Your full term date is March 17th, 51. Does that information sound correct to you, Mr. Brister?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we'll start out with you. Tell us a little bit about your offenses. You know, what did you do to get yourself in jail, and why do you think now is the time for us to give you a chance to get out?
First, I want to thank y'all for this opportunity. I was young, I did some foolish things I shouldn't did. I followed the wrong crowd, and I take full responsibility. Nobody made me do what I did. I stirred into the wrong direction. And through my incarceration, I have accomplished as well, achieved many goals. I have been a mentor to many young brothers, as well as my own family. And even though the board might look at me as not a changed man, I am. And one of my pastors in the Bible says that when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away foolish things. And I made some mistakes in life. And I just want the board, please give me a chance to go out there and do right.
Do you have an attorney present?
No, sir, I don't.
Attorney, okay. Would the warden or a staff member give us any information they have on Mr. Brister? How's he been?
Yes, Mr. Brister's been here, came to us, I think, from Angola, in March of 23. And he's been here, and as of now, you know, he doesn't have any disciplinary infractions in his record.
All right. Today we have in support Darren Brister, which is a cousin who would like to speak. So we'll go ahead on and move on to Mr. Darren Brister.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Darren Brister. I'm Joseph Brister's first cousin, and I'm here for his support and help you guys understand that if my cousin Joseph get out, he has full family support from all of his family members, from uncles to cousins to sisters to brothers. And I was in support of Joseph from day one. When he got incarcerated, he was young, and he did a lot of foolish things when he was young. So I played the role as a mentor. When he was in Angola, I would come every single month for like 14 years straight and only missed twice. And I've seen growth in Joseph that's tremendously. When I first started visiting him, he had a lot of anger in him. He didn't know God. And now, through programs that he's been through in Angola, through my mentorship, he's grown so much. He's lost so much. So I, for one, believe that if Joseph get back in society, he would do great things because he want to give back. He want to change. He want to, set a great example for his daughters that he wasn't around to take care of. So I think it would be a great idea if I can convince you guys that, hey, give my cousin another chance. I'll be there. His sister be there. And I just want you guys to think about it. And I thank y'all for the opportunity to give me a chance to talk.
All right, thank you. Okay. We also have in support of Mr. Brister, Yolanda Knighton, and she's on Zoom but not wishing to speak, so we acknowledge that she's in support. In opposition, we don't have anybody who wants to speak. However, we do have opposition from the district attorney's office, and the sheriff's office, as noted through the pre-parole investigation. The case has been assigned to me, so I'll start the questioning. Actually, I'm going to go over a little bit of what I asked you to tell us what got you into trouble, but you didn't give me much, so I'm going to review what it is that actually got you into trouble. Your first charge is a simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling on April 13th, 1992. Deputies stopped a car that you were traveling in at a high rate of speed through a residential area. The offender, along with items that had been reported stolen, were located in the vehicle, and Joseph Brister was arrested and charged with simple burglary of an inhabited dwelling. Your second offense, another unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling. On October 24th, 1996, the victim, Elise Smith, and her brother, Edwin Borders, returned to find a car in their driveway and their kitchen door kicked in. Borders noticed that the keys were still in the car along with a wallet. He secured these items, and then shortly after, Mr. Brister came out of the woods next to the home and asked for his keys and wallet back. Police arrived and determined Brister was the person who had went into the residence. He was charged with unauthorized entry of the inhabited dwelling. On the third offense that you're up here for today, on March 20th, 2005, state troopers Catalini and Cook were standing in front of Troop L in Mandeville when they heard gunshots. After hearing the shots, Trooper Catalini walked to the front of the building and saw a light-colored vehicle traveling slowly and no other vehicles in the area. And he initiated the stop and made contact with the passenger, Mr. Joseph Brister, and the driver, Chantel McCaskill. A pat down of Brister revealed marijuana in his pocket. A search of the vehicle produced a .380 pistol that had just been fired. Ms. McCaskill told officers that Brister had just fired the gun. He was charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of marijuana, illegal discharge of a weapon. So that is what actually caused you to be here today. As far as questions go, I notice you're wearing handcuffs. Is there any particular reason you're wearing handcuffs? Because most of the guys come here and aren't.
Yes, sir. I'm on the investigation for accident that took place in the business shed. It's being reviewed.
Okay. All right. Okay. I see you got a bunch of people in the room with y'all, and we don't have any record of who those people are. Could they introduce themselves for us and tell us what they're there for?
I'm Tabitha Whitehead. I'm Joseph Brister's sister. I was actually supposed to speak on his behalf.
Okay, we'll get back to you.
Okay.
I'm Pastor George Taylor. I was supposed to also speak on behalf as well.
All right, and the two people in the back?
I'm Stacy Arthur, Joseph's sister. I'm here to support him.
Okay.
Here is Superman, Bramlock, Brister.
All right. So Ms. Whitehead, you wanted to speak in support, go ahead.
Okay, everything my cousin said, Darren Brister, is pretty much what I was gonna say. I am the one, if he's granted, he's supposed to come live with me. And despite of everything that you just read of his charges or whatever, he really have changed, you know. He lost a lot, my mom and dad, his daughter, you know, but you know, he have a great support system. And I'm ready to do whatever, my husband and I both, you know, we already discussed this. I've been in his life since day one, been here for him since day one. I live in a nice, you know, community, and, you know, even my neighbors, they're ready to employ him. He had jobs lined up for him. You know, that's basically all I can say is just, I pray that y'all would just, you know, overlook him being in the orange jumpsuit and just give him another chance, you know. Thank you.
Pastor?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir, the board as well for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of Joseph Brister. I came to Jordan Bristol life about 18 years ago. And I mean, I came to him, he was very angry, confused, man that, again, because of his past, mistakes he made. And, you know, not on top of that, he lost his brother, that made him very confused. And so God directed me into his life to basically mentor him spiritually. So I became his spiritual advisor from that day one up to now. I made countless trips to Angola, sharing the word of God with him, encouraging him. I wrote countless letters, trying to encourage him spiritually. And I've been trying to let him know that God knows we all make mistakes, but God's a forgiving God. So I'm praying that this board also be forgiven as well. Again, we all have made mistakes in our life, and God has forgave us, and we pray that God will also allow this man opportunity to be forgiven and be also back to society. You know, and I would definitely be his pastor. He already told me that he's gonna come to part of the church, and we're gonna finish the work that God allowed me to start within him. I have seen a great how God had really molded this young man to be a very better young man than he was before. Again, he went from being angry, now he's a good praying man. He read the Bible. Again, not just got heard a lot of times. Guys go be in prison, they read the Bible and they get back out and pray and stuff. But this young man, I tell you, I can vouch for him. I can't see him being this close to the road doing something stupid that caused him to be in his suit. So I don't know what happened here, what went on, but I do know that I figured out him and I talked numerous times. He come, wait for that day to come where he be released by society to get one more chance at life to do the right thing to help other young black men not to go down the same path that he went. And I do believe he'd be a great inspiration to a lot of young black men who are on the street right now who are doing crazy stuff like he did to let them know it ain't worth it. So I pray, no, I don't pray, but I beg you all, please, give this man another chance to get back to society where we can continue to work with him and be all God called him to be. Thank you.
Thank you. Do any of my colleagues have questions?
I just wanted to note that one victim did respond and was opposed. But he does have victim opposition.
Warden, in the institutional progress report, he's classified as a medium custody. Is that accurate?
Not right now. I mean, he's in maximum custody at the moment.
But he was in medium custody before, I mean.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No.
All right, cases are assigned to me, and I'll cast the first vote. Looking at your case, Mr. Brister, I believe that you are heading in the right direction. I think you've taken a lot of the right classes. I think the pastor hit it on the head. I think that you're heading in the right direction. However, when I look at you being a third offender, and I look at the amount of time that you served, it's not even half of what the original court sentenced you to serve. I think that you're heading in the right direction, but today's not your day. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to vote to deny your parole at this time based on not enough time served compared to what the sentencing court ordered you to serve. But keep up the faith and keep on going in the direction you're going, and I think you'll be out of there pretty soon. Okay.
I concur with Mr. Barra. You have done a lot of real good things, but you are a third offender and you haven't done at least half your sentence. And I think there's some responsibility to the board that you know, they give a sentence, you need to do at least a majority of it, or at least half of it. So my vote is to deny.
I concur with my colleagues. My vote is also to deny.
That concludes our business today with Mr. Brister. Today your parole has been denied.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't mean to interrupt.
Yes. Oh, there he is, I think.
Yeah. Man,
Mhm.
you know, his face so shiny. We got
All right. The Committee of Parole is called back to order, 9:30 a.m. We're still at Rayburn Correctional Center. Mr. Griffin, would you introduce yourself and give me your full name and DOC number for the record? You're mute.
I'm sorry, it keeps muting on us. So he's
got it.
ready now.
Yes, sir. I'm Wade Griffin. 503417.
All right, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of the process. First, I'm going to read some information to the record, ask you to verify. Then we're going to give you a chance to speak and tell us what you did to get yourself in trouble and why you think you deserve to be out. The warden will give us a little update. We'll allow supporters and we'll allow people in opposition. The district attorney will give a statement if he's present, and then we'll conduct your interview. Your case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. He's going to be the first guy to talk to you and the first person to ask vote. Today, we have for parole consideration, Wade Griffin, DOC number 503417, who's a first felony offender who has been convicted of manslaughter and on 1/30/06 was sentenced to serve 35 years hard labor in a Voiles parish. You have a parole eligibility date of 3/22/25, a good time date of 3/26/39, and a full term date of 3/20/40. Does that information sound correct to you, Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir, it does.
All right, now's the time that you would tell us, what did you do to get yourself in this trouble? And why do you think we should grant you an early release from it?
Yes, sir. What did I do to get myself in this trouble? First, I'd like to say I'm ashamed of myself to tell this story. I stayed out all night one day. You know, I didn't go home. I was a terrible husband. And I drew down some money from a job that we went and checked on. And I started drinking, hanging out, doing drugs, crack cocaine. And I made it home the next morning in a terrible state. It was all my fault. And my wife was, we fussed and we argued and, you know, and like his kids are concerned and it's their right and they was concerned about their mother. So we, it got into a big feud. It was, and I feud, it was all my fault. You understand? And Jill, my stepdaughter, she told her boyfriend, which is Marcus, and the victim about it, and like boyfriends are, he was concerned about it. And he came and we spoke and it got all out of line. And I was a lesser of man at that time. And I did something that no man have a right to do, and that's an old man. And I took his life. And I regret it, and to this day, and I think his family, you know, I can empathize with the father. Marcus was his only son, and I have an only son, you know, and I think his sisters all the time, and they have my prayers in my heart, because I have 3 big sisters. I have sisters, and they actually chimed in right now, you know, and they love me. I'm their little brother, and that was their brother. And I just think about the hurt and pain and the void that they were suddenly left with by the choice I made that day. You know, that man is gone. I'm no longer that fella anymore. I destroyed him. I picked him apart. You know, I took I addressed my issues. I was an addict and had anger issues, and actually. Anger management taught me I had repressed anger. You know, it's elusive, and I resemble those characteristics, and they help me deal with them angers, with those issues. You know, and I try to exemplify a better person every day. These past 20 years, almost 20 years, you know, I have no write-ups.
I've walked away from a lot of things. Certain things don't even, don't bother me, like they used to, you know, that man is gone. And I've learned a lot. And I spoke with many young men along the way, you know, and I try to counsel them and be a positive, influence on them because prison offers a lot of negative, a lot of challenges, and young men can be so easily pulled off the path, you know. So I do a lot of exercise, and that's the first place a young man come, you know, looking for manhood, trying to find a way. And I tell them certain things we'll talk about, you know, certain things not to get into, you know, and because the life is precious and is definitely sacred, and you know no one has the right to take life, and I was a terrible person, you know, and and like I said, that fella is gone, you know, and I've took numerous self-help classes, which has helped me tremendously with these character defects, to say the least. You know, and I have a lot of support, you know, out there waiting for me. I have sisters, family, religious based people who are ready to help me out, or if any issue arises again, you know, with anger or narcotics or anything, you know, have sponsors. My sister Norma Jones, I'm sorry. You know, she's a principal of Christian Academy School, and the vice president and founder of nonprofit Lowe's County. It helps disability. I worked in the medical field here in the infirmary, and I learned how to deal with people with disabilities, and I can be a helper in that association with them. You know, if I can just and bigger than that, I've watched many lives lost here. You know, and me have taken a Marx's life. It touched me, and it really gave me a different perspective on life. So I no longer want to destroy. No, it's not the way. This is, you know, I left the family ruins. You know, and like I said, I can only empathize with the sister and the father, you know, because I'm a father with an only son, and sisters who love me, and I've worked constantly for my 20 years, yes, and I tried to abide by the rules. I learned the respect for authority and patience, and so many different attributes, so many things. Prison, and had not I come to prison, prison actually gave me the tools not to have to come back. Because if I hadn't probably actually come to prison, I would have never had a chance to address my addiction or my attitude problem. You know, so now that I had a chance to address those, thank God, I don't have to come back if granted. You know, I can be positive, I can be a help to society instead of just a taker. You know, I was you know, I can give. I've been a taker a lot in my life, and it took this to let me see these things in me, you know, and again, I just want to pay my respect and acknowledge the family, because whichever way this go today, they still left with the reality of, you know, Marx's death. And, I won't change, you know, and that's it, you know. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. I got a question for you. How many years have you been there?
At this facility here,
Doing time since on this charge. How many years have you done?
it's going up on 20 years, you know, in March of next year will be 20 years. March the 22nd. So I'm at 19 and some months. Yes, sir.
All right. Warden, have you got anything to tell us about his behavior and his record there?
Yes, sir. Of course, I can't speak for the victims or the crime, but he and I have spoken and just hearing his story and seeing where he is now versus where he was. He's been at RCC since 2020. In his years of incarceration, he has 0 write-ups. So I think that says a lot about his overall character. Here, right now, at the moment, he is a trustee here. See him pretty often, almost daily, doing different chores. He does carpentry work, cement work, different odd and end jobs around the facility. Always see him, seems to always know his place and his surroundings and who he's around. Always respectful and even speaking with employees here that know him and work with him on a daily basis. Everyone speaks highly of him as an inmate here at the facility.
Thank you. Today we have in support Jonathan Griffin.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Griffin, you're his brother?
Yes, sir, I am.
Go ahead and tell us what you got to say. We can't hear you, Mr.
Wade Griffin.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, I'm here now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. It's my little brother, man, and he a good guy, man. He always been a good guy. He a good guy who made a mistake, man. He's really a good man, and I definitely can I definitely can feel what he's saying when it comes to using drugs and stuff like that, because I used to use drugs, but like September the 15th, I have 15 years of sobriety, and so I'm here 24 hours a day to support my little brother, whatever he needs, I'm willing to help him with it, I go around, I speak to people in recovery, I sponsor people, and so whatever he needs from me, I'm here to help him, Yes.
All right, thank you for coming and sharing that with us. We also have in support a sister, Miss Nora Jones. Would you speak next?
Yes, sir. My name is Norma Jones, and I'm his sister. That's my baby brother. No, I'm trying not to cry. We love, as much as we love our baby brother, we grieve for the other family because he made a life-altering decision that day that changed the life of not only our family, but especially that other family. We love our brother, we love him, and whatever he needs, we'll support him on this if the decision goes in his favor today. As young people, we grew up on the west side of Chicago. It was a pretty rough environment. Some of us made it out good, some of us didn't. And Corey, we call him Corey, he struggled with drugs. He went to Louisiana to try and help that issue. And when he got there, he continued to struggle. And that day that he changed that family's life, it was one of those drug-induced days. And we grieve for that family. Our family grieves for that family every day because at least we had a chance to still talk to him. But that we know that family's life will never be the same. He's my little brother. I love him with all of my heart. Anything that I can do to help him, in support of him, once he comes home out, if the day goes in his favor, we'll do it. Not only me, but my mother who's sitting beside me, my other sister on the other side, we have another sister. And so we have the support, he has the support that he needs. We've already looked at jobs for him. We've looked at programs to help him, Parole to Pride. And so whatever he needs on this side, we'll be able to do it. I myself am a minister as well as a principal at a Christian school, and so I do have some contacts that will be able to help him as well. But whatever he needs, you all will not see him again. He will have the support that he needs on the outside. I appreciate your time and I appreciate you considering him. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, that's all the people that we had in support. We have a couple of people in opposition. We have Miss Kayla Conway, a victim's sister, in opposition. She's with us on Zoom, but not wanting to speak. We have Phoenicia Ford, victims, I'm not sure the relation, with us at headquarters, not wanting to speak. And we have Miss Jerry Garan, victim assistant coordinator. Oh, she does want to speak?
I'm going to speak for her.
Okay, we have Jerry Garan, our victim assistant coordinator, here at headquarters, who will speak on behalf of Phoenicia Ford.
I can also speak also.
Kayla Conway wants to speak.
Okay, Ms. Conway, we'll let you go first.
So good morning again. I'm Kayla. I'm Marcus's younger sister. And I just want to say that while I do appreciate Wade taking the accountability over his actions of taking our brother from us, I am still in opposition of his parole today. You know, I have forgiven him, not for him, for his sake, but for me. Losing Marcus really affected our family in a way that changed us for the better, because it really made us closer. But our dad is no longer here with us, so it's just me and my sister. And so we've been through a lot. We lost our mother first, and then we lost Marcus, and so all we had was each other. So again, while I do appreciate him taking accountability, I do feel that he needs to finish out his sentence for the crime that he committed.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming and giving us your input.
Thank you.
All right, next we're going to have Ms. Jerry Garan from the Victim Assistance Coordinator Group. She's here to speak on for Ms. Phoenicia Ford.
Right, and I'm just reading her statement. The family opposes Mr. Griffin's request for parole, as we feel that although he wants consideration to be released earlier than his desired date, he did not give Marcus the opportunity for any option in life beyond the 23 years of age he decided to take it on.
Thank you, Ms. Garan. All right. We do have some law enforcement opposition from the district attorney's office that's very strongly opposed to this. And the case has been assigned to Mr. Freeman. So he's going to go ahead and ask you a few questions first.
Okay, Mr. Griffin, how old are you?
56.
What's your educational level?
I started my first year of college.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, I've gone over your report over and over, and you stated the facts pretty close to what the arrest report says, but why did you file them? I mean, you argued at your wife's house, and then the daughter leaves, your stepdaughter leaves after y'all argued because you said he was no good and messing around on her.
Yes, sir.
And then, but then you go to his apartment. What did you go to his apartment for? I mean, with a knife?
No, I didn't go to his apartment. He said,
Where did you go? Standing in front of the apartment when he was stabbed?
no, we was at my house, at where my residence.
Okay, so he came there.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, and your daughter, your stepdaughter had left and she come back and y'all were arguing, correct?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, he went to the trunk and when he popped it, you stabbed him?
No, well, when he popped the trunk and when we was gonna take it to the next level. That's what he said. But this was my fault. you know, I take full responsibility. That's what he said, and I started looking at my door, a route to escape, because I was afraid that he might have a gun. You know, he was getting a gun or anything, you know, but and as he was at the front, back at his door, the car door, the front of the car, which is butted up against the front porch of where I live, we got pushy and shovey, and I made a terrible decision. And then I stabbed him. And that's what happened.
You ain't.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right,
Terrible.
tell me about some of the, just a couple of the classes you took. I've seen you've taken a bunch of classes. Which one hit you the most?
Oh, I gotta say NAAA and anger management, and one program it was victim awareness. You know, when I was allowed the opportunity to write a victim accountability letter to the family, some of burning desire that I've always had. So most definitely I had to write that letter, you know, because again, I'm family oriented, and I definitely empathize with the sisters and the father of Marcus. So victim awareness was very impactful on me, and you know, but I had to change. You know, I had to address those demons with drugs and anger. And NAAA anger management, it really gave me some real insight on myself. It showed me myself, you know, and all those characteristics of a person who was just definitely on the wrong track, just to say the least. And you know, and repressed anger. They speak of in anger management, and it's worse than that, just blatant anger, because it's elusive. You don't even know you had it. And something terrible like this happens, you know. So I had to confront that and deal with it. During this time, I had to allow this time and take this time to be better. Whether I'm in here or in society, you know, that's a destructive lifestyle, and it's it leaves people in shambles, families in shambles. It's no victimless crime. I learned that because in the beginning you think that. You come and when you don't know that, you be thinking, well, if I had a DWI or narcotics, you think, but it's victims. You know, and so I'm so more attuned to that, and I don't wanna, and I never want to be that person again. So these classes has helped me see these things and deal with them.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
And, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Are you an addict?
Excuse me?
Are you an addict? Are you a drug addict?
I'm a recovering addict. I think
Okay.
you're once you've tasted that demon, it's something you just, it's a constant, every day, all day job to deal with that, you know. And I know that it's been 20 years, you know, since I've used honestly. They have those things in jail. Oh yeah, it's drug infested, everybody knows that. But I got people I can talk to. I know good people who's in the same situation. Their drugs has had a big influence in their crime, you know, and I know it don't stop here. And if and when I'm granted, you know, I know the first thing I'll do is find a NAA recovery group to be part of, and have my sister will be my sponsor if and when narcotics or anger issues arise again. My brother has been man, he's been doing this for like 17 years, all through Central Illinois, speaking and sponsoring, and he agreed. I asked him, I said, man, would you sponsor me if I'm granted, because it don't stop, and I know I can't ever make those choices again because it's too much destruction. This life is too, it's too short, it's too precious, and I don't have no parts of it. That's destruction again, never, most certainly.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, you've done a very, very good interview, and you really, really have gotten understanding out of those classes. I can tell by talking to you. I have no further questions.
I have one question. In our parole packet, the residence agreement form, it's not signed, but where are you going to live? What is your plan?
With my sister, Mazimoyo Osu, she's logged on right now, and it's gonna be in Columbus, Mississippi. And I have the address, it's 4044 West 69th South, Columbus, Mississippi.
Okay.
And
Does Norma Jones, your sister, live close to there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm right around the corner. I'm walking distance.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that when you said you're gonna support him, that you're in proximity to him to be able to do that.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in walking distance.
Okay, thank you. That was the question I have. Have you started an ICOTS process for an transfer? If you were relieved?
They're telling me it's been approved.
Oh, it has been?
My staff is telling me that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Gordon.
I don't have any questions for you. Guess it's time to vote. Is the board ready to vote?
We don't know that he.
Call for an executive session.
I will second that.
Pete Freeman.
Yes.
Jerry Ledoux.
Yes.
Danny Bowers.
Yes. All right, the board is done with executive session. We are prepared to vote, and Mr. Freeman's been assigned the case. He will be the first person to vote.
Okay, Mr. Griffin, I've looked at your case a bunch. You got 35 years for manslaughter. Your DA is strongly opposed because it could have been more. You could have got 40 for manslaughter, and you also could have been charged with second-degree murder. But you've done everything. To me, you've done a great job. You just need more time. I mean, I can't, I looked at the victim's opposition, and I also look at 19 years of taking someone's life. And, even as great as you are now, I don't, in prison, I think you got to do the retribution for what you've done. So my vote is to deny.
That's what I do.
Based on the fact that you pretty much maxed out your educational opportunities, you have exemplary discipline, conduct. My vote is to grant parole today.
All right. And I'm gonna concur with Mr. Freeman on his vote. I think I agree with both of them. You've done a lot while you're in there. You're in a good position. But there still is a price to pay for the crime that you did. So continue on with what you're doing and reapply as soon as you're eligible and after a little more time, and we'll try it again then. But you are doing a good job and
great family support.
Yes. So today that concludes our business with Mr. Griffin.
All right, thank you.
All right. Committee on Parole is called to order. We are resuming our hearings at Raven Correctional Center now at 10:15 a.m. We have in front of us Mr. Reynolds. Can you please introduce yourself by stating your full name and your DOC number for the record?
Ryan Scott McReynolds, 570-517.
All right, Mr. McReynolds, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of how this will go. I'm going to read you some information about your case, ask you to verify it. We're going to give you a chance to speak on your behalf first and tell us what you did to cause your incarceration and why do you think you're a good candidate to be released now. Then the warden's going to give us some details. We have a person here in support for you who we're going to allow to speak. And the district attorney, if they're around, we're going to let them speak. And then we'll conduct our parole interview. Mr. Freeman is assigned your case. He's going to be the first guy to talk with you. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration, Mr. Ryan McReynolds, DOC number 570517, who is a third felony offender who's been convicted of theft over 500, carnal knowledge of a juvenile, sex offender registration violations, habitual, racketeering, conspiracy to distribute heroin, conspiracy to distribute meth, possession of heroin, introduction of contraband into a correctional institution. And on May 11th, 16, November 8th, 17, April 13th, 18, and 6/15/21 was sentenced to serve 8 years hard labor, 8 years hard labor, 7 years hard labor, 10 years hard labor, 2 years hard labor in St. Tammany Parish and in Franklin Parish. Your parole eligibility date is March 14th of 2023. Your good time date is May 28th of 26, and your full term date is 9/15 of 27. Does that sound correct to you, Mr. Reynolds?
Not currently serving time on the carnal knowledge or the theft. That was a prior conviction before this one.
All right. I do note that. We'll note that. Okay, so it's your chance to tell us, what did you do to get you in trouble on those other remaining charges that aren't the prior charges? And why do you think today is why do you think that you'd be a good candidate for release?
Well, I was released from prison in March of 2015. And when I came home, I made a wrong decision and got into the streets and started selling drugs. There's really no excuse for it. What I did was wrong. Last time I went up for parole, when I come in front of the board, they told me that the reason I didn't make it is they denied me drug treatment here due to I've never done drugs before. So once I wrote to try to get into classes and they refused me. And when I come last time, when they noticed it, they talked about it and they agreed to do an override and to place me in the drug programs. And last time, Michelle Renat told me if I continue doing what I'm doing, she told me to continue welding, and she told me to go get at least one drug substance abuse class. And I completed welding. I got a job in the infirmary. I completed I completed A and A 12 steps, living in balance. I participated in a ongoing, I took victim awareness. And then after that, I went and was trying to become a mentor. So I took Tyro, Moral Compass, and CJI. I completed all those. I'm waiting on DOC to send back my form to make me a mentor. And I also now am a facilitator for the Let's Move drug program, trying to help these other guys get on the same track that I'm on.
What specific substance abuse practice since the last hearing that we were talking about?
I took AANA 12 steps, I completed Living in Balance, and I participated in AANA ongoing.
Warden, do you have anything to add about Mr. McReynolds?
His disciplinary, his conduct record's good. He is working in the infirmary, has been in there and helping out with the nursing unit and different things like that. So, as far as inside of here, I can't really say anything bad. It appears he's doing everything or has done everything that's been asked of him and is headed in the right direction.
Why is he in medium custody?
Why isn't he?
Why is he? Our report shows him as medium custody.
Medium?
Yep, good institutional record, but he's medium custody.
Because of the sex offender.
Because of the sex offender?
The sex crime there is the reason he can't make trustee.
Gotcha. Thank you very much, boy.
All right. Today we have in support and wanting to speak Ms. Krista Borrell. Ms. Borrell, it's your turn.
Good morning, I'm Ryan's wife. I just wanted to come in, show that he has good family support at home. He has a good family support system. You know, we own our own house. He doesn't have to worry about landlords, anything like that. He's got a stable household, stable income. You know, I can manage all of that until he is able to find his groove. Liable transportation. I think that Ryan has utilized all resources that was available to him in the system. He has learned from those things, and I think that he's ready to take the next steps and come home.
Thank you. I see there's two other people in the room there. Are y'all supporters?
Yes, sir. I'm his father, and I feel like he has paid his debts to society and should come home.
And what's your name?
Scott McReynolds.
Okay. And the next lady?
I'm Ryan's grandmother, Nora McReynolds, and Ryan has, when he got out the last time he was out, I had a place for Ryan to stay with me, and they had approved me, they said, and then after they did, they said I lived too close to where the young girl was that he had had sex with. It wasn't sex that was forced on her, it was consensual sex. But and she was young and he was young too. But he couldn't stay with me, and then his dad moved his trailer far enough away where he could go there, and he couldn't go there. And because it was too close again, and this went on. I had a place for 3 months that I kept calling his probation officer about him living there, because it was a friend of mine's apartment above. And he was, that he wouldn't come and check it out or anything at all. And Ryan ended up having to go, stay with his brother. And, this is when all this other stuff accumulated happened after that. And he would have been in a safe place for months, as long as he wanted to live there, because I've been helping his mother, the girl's house that was giving him a place to live. I helped her mother and dad over and over again, and Ryan's always done everything in his power to help me, and I've never known Ryan to do drugs. I don't think he did the wrong thing by selling them, but anybody that you speak to will tell you Ryan has never ever done drugs. And you know, and he's always been a good grandson to me.
Thank you for letting us know all that. All right, we don't have any person here in opposition, but we do have strong opposition from law enforcement community. The judge in this case is opposed. 2 DAs in both parishes are opposed. The sheriffs of both parishes are opposed. Mr. Freeman, your case has been assigned to you, so go ahead and begin your interview.
Okay, first off, your fiance, is that residence been approved?
That's my wife. It should be approved. I put it onto the thing, and the last time I went up there, it approved the residents already, so I shouldn't see why they wouldn't approve it now. It was approved for the last hearing.
Last year, that's what I wanted to know. Why did you leave your brother's house?
I didn't live at my brother's house. I wound up living with a female, and really there isn't no excuse for what I did. I was wrong and decided to.
I mean, your habitual failure to register. I've never seen a habitual failure to register. Your static 99 is 4, which is high, high, high.
I only have one failure to register. That was my first one I've ever got.
What's that?
The failure to register. That's the only failure. They just multi-billed me on it. They sentenced me as an habitual and multi-billed me on my first one. That's the only one I've ever had.
One you had? Okay. Tell me about the 8/22/20 incident with the phone.
I was in Winsboro incarcerated and had a cell phone in order, to make it easier to call my family and stuff like that. And I shouldn't have had it. Got caught with it, and I took the 2 years
Facebook accounts on there too, right?
Yes, sir.
Facebook account, you can't have that when you're in the free world because of your sex offender contract.
Yes, sir.
So you violating sex offender while you're in jail. Because you got Facebook. Okay. And also tell me about the aggravated battery on that other inmate. What's that about?
They dismissed the charge because it wasn't me. They had wound up coming in and they had got like 4 or 5 people, multiple people, and they charged us on aggravated battery for an incident. And once they reviewed the cameras, they wound up dropping the charge on me because it wasn't me.
Good. Okay. All right. You took substance abuse, even though it doesn't look like you have a substance abuse problem. That's all the questions I have, y'all. Anyone have any further questions?
As a 4th felony offender, have you ever completed a period of supervision on the street?
This is my 2nd time incarcerated. I did one conviction, and when I went home, that's whenever I caught the drug charge. I was only home 72 days, and they just charged me with multiple charges in different courtrooms. So it raised my offender class every time that I had to take, instead of putting it all in one thing, they put failure to register in one courtroom, and they put the drug charges in another one. So when I took it in different courtrooms, it changed my offender class. And then the cell phone was while being incarcerated.
I don't have any other questions.
I don't have any questions.
I got one last question. When you were in jail the previous time, did you take any sex offender classes?
Yes, sir. In 2011, I participated in the BETG program, and upon being released, they told me you still got to take the class. They said it don't matter. They say if you take it in jail, you don't have to, but once you're released, you got to participate in it anyway. So it was really, whenever I went up last time, they didn't tell me I needed it, and by me having to participate in it every week whenever I go home, I went ahead and focused on the other programs that really needed to be handled, and I could take that one on parole.
I don't have any more.
Right. Is the board ready to vote?
Yes, I'm ready to vote.
Go ahead.
Okay, it concerns me about the Facebook on your cell phone while in prison, even on the streets, like I say, you could have been arrested for that. Law enforcement is strongly opposed. My vote today would be to deny. He gets out in 6/2/25 regardless.
Ms. Lindsay?
My vote is to deny. I have a problem when you're arrested while you're incarcerated. It's a philosophical thing. If you can't obey the rules while you're in prison, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that you're gonna obey the rules when you're out. And so my vote is to deny.
Mr. Reynolds, I concur with my colleagues. Till today, your parole has been denied. This concludes our business with Mr. Reynolds today.
Reply back whenever.
All right, Committee on Parole is called back to order. Time now is 10:43 a.m. We're returning back to Raven Correctional Center for a hearing with Mr. Derrick Gumms. Mr. Gumms, would you please state your full name and your DOC number for the record?
Derrick Gumms, 529-899.
Mr. Gumms, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of how the process works. We're going to read some information into the record, ask you to verify it. We're going to give you a chance to speak and tell us about what you did to cause yourself to be incarcerated and why you think it's a good time to release you. Then we'll ask the warden a couple of questions. We'll allow comments from supporters, comments in opposition, and then we'll conduct the interview. Your case is assigned to Ms. Ledoux. She'll be the one that asks the first questions in this case. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration, Derrick Gumms, DOC number 529899, who's a third felony offender who was convicted of attempted or conspiracy to commit distribution of heroin and marijuana, attempted or conspiracy to commit distribution of cocaine, and racketeering. And on January 28, 2016, you were sentenced to serve 20 years hard labor in Jefferson Parish. Your parole eligibility date is 2/26/23. Your good time date is 3/3/34, and your full term date is 2/26/35. Does that information sound correct to you, Mr. Gumms?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now it's your turn. Go ahead and tell us, what did you do to get yourself incarcerated, and what did you do since there? And why do you think today's a good day for us to grant you parole?
What I did, I got incarcerated. I sold drugs in my community. And I would like to apologize to my community for selling drugs, messing my community up. I took some classes out since the last time I got like by presentation since the last time I've been for the parole hearing to better myself.
Gotcha. And that's why you think today's the good day, because you took some classes. What classes did you take?
I took Tyrone, Marta Compton, and TJI.
Okay, I think you took a few more than that, but Warden, do you have anything to tell us about him?
Derrick's been here since 20. He's a trustee. He's on the road crew here, and as of right now, he doesn't have any write-ups here at RCC.
All right. I see that as an attorney that wishes to speak on your behalf, Mr. Stephen Harris. Can we hear from Mr. Harris?
Yes, sir. Greetings to all the parole board members in their respective positions. I just want to say for the record that I do believe in second chances. We have a second chance organization that spans across Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and we're practically nationwide. I believe that Mr. Gumms deserves a second chance through the discretion of the parole board, because he is surrounded by a lot of positive support. In fact, I'm going to take it upon myself, if the board does grant him opportunity to be readmitted back into society, I was going to take it upon myself to help Mr. Gumms enroll into a college setting, a curriculum, so that he can, get an opportunity to experience pursuing college and pursuing some type of degree or trade for that matter. Additionally, I was also going to reach out to law enforcement to try to bridge a gap, that can open up doors to keep people like Mr. Gumms active in this community, to try to do something positive in the community, to give back and do volunteer work for law enforcement, to speak to a lot of young people out there in the community, not to do what he done in his past life, and I'm just asking the parole board to show compassion. Mr. Gumms is a model prisoner. no write-ups. You know, there's a differentiation between offenders who randomly get into all type of violent acts, or they you know, attack other offenders. You know, he's not in that category. He's not classified as such. So he has you know, shown his self-approval. You know, a tree is known by the fruit it bears. So I believe that he deserves that second chance. I yield.
Thank you. We also have in support an uncle who does wish to speak, named LeVar Green. Mr. Green, would you go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us about him?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I also, to the ladies and gentlemen, to the parole board, this is LeVar Green speaking on behalf of DERRICK GUMMS. As I talk to you guys, I do ask that you give him a second chance. And as I look at Derrick, I also look at myself. And what reminds me of myself is that I was one that got caught up into the community of drugs back in 1996. I was also granted parole by you guys, and I thank you guys for that second chance. That second chance that you gave me back in 97, that's the chance that I'm asking that you give unto Derrick, because that second chance meant a lot. When I left prison Hunts back in 97, I left there with a fire to reflect on the actions that I had in my life, and the poison that I did to the community that I lived in. And when I left there, because of the second chance that you gave me, that I'm asking that you give Derrick, I left there with fire underneath my feet, and I haven't returned since. And because of that, I am in support of him. Also financially, I also with the lawyer, as well as making sure that he is granted to go inside of a college, also to support him with that as well. I am well established. I have two businesses here in Houston. One is a food truck operation. Another one is that a electrical company that I took up a trade 15 years into the business, and now I am well established, that I may be able to also help financially support Derrick as he enters into a new society, to get into college and to also have well surroundings. So I am asking that you give him that second chance, just as you gave to me, because my second chance that you gave me was not wasted at all. I have a family. I'm also a minister in my church. I also teach the youth in my church as well, that they do not have to deal drugs. They don't have to be in the places of where I come from, but they also can succeed in life. I also have three kids, three boys, three boys, one daughter that graduated Nickel State because you gave me that second chance. I have another boy that just graduated Alabama A&M this year because of that second chance. I have another boy, which is a Gums. All of them are Gums as well. That's at Arkansas right now this day, that's looking to play pro ball in the next couple of years because of that second chance. So that second chance you gave me, I took it and I ran with fire underneath my feet. I have a well-established family, and I'm asking that you give Derrick that same chance as well. So we appreciate you and we thank you. And we're hoping for a great outcome for Derrick today.
Thank you, and congratulations on your success.
Yes,
glad
very much
to
so.
glad to hear
Yes,
it.
sir.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So we have Mr. Randy Myers with the DA's office in opposition.
Good morning, Randall Meyer, Assistant DA, Jefferson Parish, and we're opposed to Mr. Gums' request. He was part of a violent and dangerous gang in the West Bank of Jefferson Parish. He's got at least 5 family members, I believe, who are part of that gang. The gang, long history of using weapons in the commission of crimes and a poor record under supervision. I note that his residence plan, I believe, is in the New Orleans area, but in his application, he states about wanting to go to Texas. If the board today or some other time intends on granting him parole, I would ask that he is granted to an out-of-state plan. He's also made a request in his application about going to work release, which, I'm not sure about the rules on work release, if he has to be granted in order to go to work release, because we are opposed to his request. Like with Steve Hall has to be granted to go to a Steve Hall program. I'm not sure if that's the same with the work release, but I could see how work release would be beneficial for him. So in any event, we remain opposed to his request for parole.
Thank you. Besides opposition from the district attorney's office, we have opposition from the sheriff's office. We also have opposition from the chief of police. All right, this case is assigned to Ms. Ledoux. Ms. Ledoux, go ahead and start with the first question.
Mr. Gumbs, is it correct that the last write-up you had was in 2017?
They thought it all got it removed.
So how many write-ups have you had?
Right.
And you've been in prison how long?
Going on 9 years, going on 10 years.
But on 10 years on a 20-year sentence. I made note when I read through this that, yes, this was kind of a family-involved enterprise. How many of your family members are currently incarcerated for this crime?
One brother and 2 nephews and 1 cousin, about 4.
And they're all incarcerated still on this incident?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My concern, you've achieved 430 days of good time credit, which is impressive to me. Was your residence plan as well? Does it sound like a New Orleans residence plan would be the best thing for you or the public? What do you think about?
It's the only address I have right now at this moment.
So, in your words, what was your role in this organization?
Oh, selling drugs.
And were you involved in any of the violent activities that were part of this organization?
No, ma'am.
You were 27 at the time you committed the crime, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you been involved with this? How many years had you been working with them selling drugs?
Since I was like about 20, since I was about 20 years old.
So have you ever had a legitimate paying job with paid taxes and earned a living?
No, ma'am.
Really hard for us to pay taxes and we support, So kind of training do you have now that if you went out that you could support yourself?
What kind of training? Have you been in vocational skills or anything like that since you've been incarcerated? Have you learned a trade?
No, I'm still in school right now.
Still haven't gotten the GED? Is that a requirement? Is there anybody on staff who can tell me if that's been determined, if he can achieve that? Because there are alternatives, right?
It's checking on the part.
He has not been deemed incapable of obtaining it. He has leveled up. He has not been deemed incapable of obtaining his GED. He has leveled up. I'm not sure what step he is at right now. What part are you at right now?
I just gonna move up to the higher set.
Yes, he just moved, he's leveled up to the high set.
Okay, okay, great. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Supreme, I have no questions. I got a question. The record shows that you've been on supervision 3 times before, and all 3 times you got revoked. It also shows that you carried a gun while you were on supervision. Can you tell me anything about that? You know, why you got revoked 3 out of 3, and, well, you know, the gun thing, that's the problem when you're on supervision.
I do with a gun situation. I was around a gun. I got charged with attempted possession for being around it. That's why I got revoked for that.
3 times?
Yes, sir.
So if we were to let you go, what you gonna do when the next guy out that gang comes up to you and says, "Hey man, we're so glad you're back. We've been waiting for you." What you gonna say then?
I'm willing to change. I'm not going back to the same place.
Yeah, well, you're going pretty close back to the same place in New Orleans. So when the guy seems like it was a pretty big group of guys and a lot of family involved in there, I got a concern that if we let you go, what's gonna happen whenever you run into that first old gang buddy and he tries to bring you back? You know, what have you done to build yourself up for that? What have you done in your mind to prepare yourself for that? Because you know, just like I know, it's gonna happen. You know, so you got to think about that. That's a problem. It could be a problem for you on supervision again if we give it to you. So I was just wondering, what are you doing to prepare, and what's going to be, you know, just maybe for instance, I'm the guy. Hey man, we've been waiting for you for a long time. Glad you're back. What are you gonna tell me?
Well, let them know I'm changed. I'm changed. I'm not with that no more. I'm not into them things no more.
Okay.
So has he completed adult basic education or literacy or any of the educational requirements? Okay, Mr. Gunn, listen, I don't want you going back to New Orleans. You said you have some supporters. I mean, look, going to New Orleans is a recipe for disaster for you. Okay? That is going to be a very bad situation. Does he have any of the educational requirements?
He completed literacy.
Completed literacy. Okay. I'm going to go into an executive session.
Second.
Pete Freeman.
Yes.
Jerry Ledoux.
Yes.
Danny Bowden.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss confidential information.
All right, we're resuming our hearing at Rayburn. It's 11:08 a.m. and we are prepared to vote. We're gonna begin with Ms. Ledoux, who is the lead, and will cast the first vote.
Mr. Gums, I maintain my concern over a residence plan in Orleans or Jefferson Parish. And in an effort to allow you to make some contacts, my vote is going to be to grant conditionally to a transitional work program and have an approved residence plan outside Jefferson and Orleans Parish. And that you do not go to those areas on your supervision period.
Mr. Freeman?
Okay, I'm gonna concur, but I'm gonna reiterate. If you get caught going back to Orleans or Jefferson, where all those members still are, I will vote to revoke. Okay, you've got to get out of that area. So can't find another resident. You got the buddy in Texas, maybe he can help you out. But if you can't find another residence, save your money up at work release and you can get your own place somewhere else. Okay. But if you have to have that residence approved, you know, it's got to be outside Orleans.
All right, and I'm gonna vote to concur with them. Again, with emphasis on you cannot return back to Orleans or Jefferson Parish during this period of supervision. And if you do, you're gonna be revoked and you'll be looking at the rest of your sentence. So
Hello?
it's saying Mr. LeVar Green wants to make a comment. I guess we'll go out, make it brief.
Yes, I'll make it real brief. If you release him the work release while he's in work release, then we can work some things out here in Houston to make sure that he can get a residence out this way.
All right, thank you very
great.
much. All right, back to what I was saying. We've granted you parole conditional upon completion of the work release and the fact that you do not return to Jefferson or Orleans. Don't even go there to say goodbye to your friends. You know, if you got to talk to some of them, talk to them on the phone. And so today your parole has been granted conditionally. And that concludes our business with Mr. Gums. All right, the Committee on Parole is called to order. We're resuming our hearings at Rayburn Correctional Center. Time now is 11:21 a.m. and we are dealing with Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, would you please state your full name and DOC number for the record?
Anthony Ray Lee, 295655.
All right, I'm going to give you a brief explanation of the process. I'm going to read some information to the record, ask you to verify it. I'll give you a chance to speak and tell us what you did that caused you to be incarcerated and why you think what you've done since then is a reason for us to release you. Warden at the facility will give us a little information. We'll allow people in support to speak. We'll allow people in opposition to speak. And then the parole board members will conduct the interview. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration, Anthony Lee, DOC number 295655, who's a third felony offender who was convicted of manslaughter and second-degree kidnapping on May 16, 2007, and sentenced to serve 40 years hard labor and 40 years consecutive in Calcasieu Parish. Your parole eligibility date is February 23rd, 25. Your good time date is not eligible, and your full term date is February 5th of 85. Is that correct to you, Mr. Lee?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now it's your turn. Tell us what you did to end yourself up in prison like that, and why do you think we should release you?
Well, I committed the crime manslaughter. That's something that no, man. Anyway, sure, it's an incident that happened. It was spur of the moment. It was, I don't know the thoughts of it. It was just, it happened. And at the time I was hurt. I was in my right state of mind. I know I couldn't have been in my right state of mind because I never did nothing like that before in my life. I wish it never would have happened. I wish it wouldn't have hurt the people that it did. In both families' minds and theirs. And I'm just sorry that it did. And I wish the families on both sides will forgive me one day. I know it's hard to lose someone. So I'm sorry. I just hope one day that they can find their hearts to forgive me for what I did. That's all I have to say, sir.
All right. Warden, can you tell us anything about Mr. Lee and his behavior there?
Yeah, since he's been locked up, he's only had 8 write-ups. His last one was in 2021. He's been here at RCC since 2022. Since he's been here, he's helped us out as a tier walker and kind of helping out on the cell block with that, monitoring the cells as a tier walker here. So as far as here, he's had good conduct and is always respectful.
Thank you, Warren. All right. Next, we're going to move on to, we have nobody here in support wanting to speak. So we're going to move right into the people in opposition who would like to speak. We have first up, Miss Chandra Mayfield, the victim's sister. Hello? I think we hear you.
We got you.
Ma'am, can you hear us?
She's on mute.
You're on mute.
Can you go ahead and try to speak so we can hear you? See if we can hear you.
No.
Yeah, I see your link.
Can we move to Miss Sheila Mayfield and then come back to her? All right, we're gonna come back to you, Miss Chandra, and while you figure out how to unmute your system. We also have Miss Sheila Mayfield, who is victim number 2 in this case, and she wants to speak. Miss Sheila, go ahead. Okay, you're on mute too. We can't hear you.
Okay.
Can't hear you.
She was still trying to figure it out. The person that you know, she found the house when she found.
All right, that's it. I think we have Miss Chandra off of mute. So we're gonna go back to Miss Chandra while Miss Sheila figures out how to unmute hers. How about you back, Miss Chandra?
Okay, you
All
guys
right, now
can
we
hear
can
me?
you. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, what I'm going to do, I have my sister's statement, and I want to read what she has, if that's okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. She says, I am a survivor. I am trying to walk in my power as a survivor. Please do not let all my struggles and determinations be in vain by allowing this demon to be released back into society. He is incapable of feelings. This man dragged me, kidnapped, beat me in my head, and raped and sodomized me. Let us not forget, Lee murdered Myron in cold blood while he slept. The devil came to steal, kill, and destroy. This psycho did all this in the wee hours of one day. Imagine what damage he would do in a full day or 24 hours. He is not remorseful. He has just been playing a role to be released, to kill me. And she goes on to say how her children has suffered also by his actions, where they feel they have to keep her safe. And she goes on to say that this monster destroyed our norm. Anthony Lee is an aggravated murderer and rapist, known to me as a psychotic, demonic monster that needs to stay incarcerated, dwelling in his own pit of hell, build his own mindset and actions. The choices he made warrants his demise to be a lifetime in prison. And this is what I want to say. My sister endured a lifetime of pain at the hands of this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is a killer. He will set out to destroy anything that rejects him or do not live by his psychotic way of thinking. Lee is more than just a menace to society. He is evil, waiting to condemn anyone that rejects him by the way of death, and he'll kill by way of his own hands. He brutally killed Myron while he slept. He kidnapped my sister, took her across state lines. It's no way a person that did not mean to do this would have done this. He deliberately did everything that he intended to do. And if he's released, he'll kill us all. He is very vengeful. He's a manipulator. And I would like all of my siblings to continue to live and not be destroyed by the hands of this one man. I'm done.
Thank you. Now, I just want to make sure what you read, that statement right there is from Miss Sheila Mayfield. Is that the sister you're talking about?
He spoke for she and she read. But she covered.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, wonderful.
So you were speaking, that letter that was written is by Miss Sheila Mayfield, right?
Yes, and then I said that this is my statement. Then
We got that part. All right.
Okay.
So my next question is does Miss Sheila Mayfield actually want to speak herself?
She does not. She does
Okay.
not. She's trying to keep it together now.
Okay.
My sister has PTSD from this. She
All
is
right.
still suffering from this.
Okay, no problem. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't know exactly which sister you were talking about. I could assume it, but I didn't want to. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have this statement here. We do have Miss Sheila Mayfield on Zoom, who is the actual victim, but does not want to speak. And we also have on Zoom, Ms. Darcel Wright, who's the Mr. Myron Wright's widow, who does not want to speak. Is that correct? All right. So also in opposition, we have. What'd you say?
I said, I can speak if I have to.
You don't have to if you don't want.
It's very short because I did send a letter with my opposition. I did hear what he said about forgiving him. We forgive him. If he can bring Myron back, he can get out. He can't bring him back. He needs to stay where he's at. Because my daughter never met her father. She just graduated college. I was the only one there with my younger child. She's going to law school. Her father won't be there. So he shouldn't be at any of his family activities either. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. All right, that ends the opposition that we have on Zoom and wanting to speak. We also have opposition from the judge's office who advised that this was a brutal crime and that it should have been sentenced to life. The district attorney's office is opposed and says the offender only served a fraction of what he owes. The sheriff's office is opposed and the police chief's office is opposed and says that you are a significant risk to public safety. So this case has been assigned to me. So I'm gonna do the first question and ask and cast the first vote. Mr. Lee, how many times had the police been to the residence of you and Miss Mayfield for domestic issues before this incident happened?
3.
3?
Yes.
And how were they resolved? You had to leave? How did that work out each time?
One time I got off work and I come in, she had a guy in the house. And we already talked about that. That's too disrespectful. I'm at work all day and you got another man in the house. What's going on? Who was this here man here? That was our ex-old man. Second time she tried to run over me in a vehicle. Police seen the tire tracks when she tried to run over me. And asked me, did I want to press charges? I told her no. The third time she went into some woman's shelter and lied and said I was beating her up. And everybody that knows me, knowing I'm heavy-handed, if I hit somebody in the head or anywhere else on their body, that is gonna show. And they couldn't find no marks, and the police said, "Oh, did you go to the hospital? Where's the swelling? Where you hitting you at?" Because we don't see anything. So she lied there. So I wouldn't press charges, no opposition on that.
All right.
2 times. And once the police came and I let them know that I'm sleeping and she opened me with a butcher knife in her hand crying. And I wake up, baby, what's wrong? When I see the knife, I grab her wrist, grab the knife out of her hand, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? She said, it must be this aneurysm that I got. I said, aneurysm? I said, that'll make you got a butcher knife in your hand. What I did? So that is some of the questions that I asked, and that's why they asked me, did I kill Mr. Byron Wright? But the fact was, and everybody in my family, and a lot of the friends asked me, did I actually kill Byron Wright? The fact is, I told my lawyer it's not the truth. That the only reason why I say that killed Byron Wright is because she said it aneurysm, and she said she might be dying and she wanted to spend the rest of her time with her kids. But Byron Wright was already bleeding. When I got there, she said he tried to do something to her daughter, Sasha. And that's why I was taking the charge and I was gonna be the one to get rid of the body. I did not kill no damn. Wright was already bleeding. When I got there, he was sitting on the bed bleeding already. That's why I took the charge, because she said she was dying of an aneurysm and she wanted to spend the rest of her time with her grandbaby. I didn't kill no goddamn, but right. Sorry, sir.
No problem.
Sure, I ain't killed nobody in my life. And my family, everybody's trying to tell me, don't take that charge, let her take her own thing. I know you didn't do it, and I didn't. She the one called me and told me to come over there. I come from the casino, she told me to come late. When I got there, that man was sitting on the bed bleeding already.
Are we the first people you tell this to, or you told this to the police?
When my lawyer first interviewed me, I told that to my lawyers. And they told me not to testify. They didn't bring that up in court.
All right. I don't have any further questions. Do you have questions?
Did you go to trial or did you plead guilty?
Went to trial. They told me not to testify on my behalf. My lawyers told me that. Don't testify, don't say nothing.
So what about the kidnapping?
Yeah.
The kidnapping, her sister number up on TV right now. I took her to her mama house. She told me to take her to her mama house. She said, you got to.
I thought y'all ended up in a hotel.
Excuse me, sir.
I thought y'all ended up at a hotel.
Sir, the man at the hotel, she stood on the side of the building, outside the vehicle. She wanted to get herself together before I take her to her mama house. She wanted to get it. She stood on out there while I paid the man for the motel room and drove around. And she came around the building, through the backside of the building, and came to the room. But she knew what parking lot of her car was parked in, what front of the motel door her car was parked in.
And what happened inside the hotel?
In the motel room. I let her in the motel room. She
And what happened?
What happened in the motel room? She said, "Oh, Lee, you got the clothes out the trunk so she can put on some cleaner clothes so when she go to her mama house, because she had blood all on her clothes." And I'm like, man, come on in. So we come on in. I'm in the bathroom. She said, what's wrong? I said, I had to use the bathroom. She come in the bathroom. She said, you know what you always wanted to do? I said, what's that? I said, shit, I done did what I always wanted to do. I said, but what we gonna do about this man's body? She said, you gonna go back to Lake Charles, you want to do something with it. So I said, yeah, I was gonna go back to Lake Charles and get the body up out of the house so she won't be charged with nothing. I was gonna take the charge. If I get caught with I told her I was gonna take the charge.
Y'all have
So
sex?
before she wanted to have sex in the motel room. I told her, I don't want to have. She said, "Do you know what you always wanted to do?" I said, "What you do? You always wanted to have anal." I said, "Sheila, you talking about some sex and you just got through killing somebody?" The dude wasn't dead when we left because he was bleeding. He was sitting on up the board, head of the board or the bed. He wasn't dead. So I told her, call your husband, tell him to go over there. If the dude's still alive, tell him to call the ambulance and go see about the children. Me and her was in the car when she got on her cell phone and called her husband at his job.
Okay.
At his job.
All right, thank you. I have no.
But I told the lawyers that before anything happened, that I did not care about Wright. Byron Wright was already bleeding when I got there.
All right.
He said in the bed bleeding when I got there.
All right. Well, I just need to let you know that this is not the place. We don't retry cases here. That evidence what you're talking about should have been brought out 19 years ago. So we're gonna have to go on what we have, and it's time for us to vote. I'll assign your case, so I'll make the first vote. And basically, I vote to deny your parole based on strong victim opposition, strong law enforcement opposition, the violent crimes involving multiple victims, and Ms. Ledoux, how do you vote?
My vote is also to deny based on the same information.
Mr. Freeman?
My vote is to deny based on law enforcement opposition, strong law enforcement opposition, especially by the judge who sat through the trial saying that he would have gave you life if he'd have had the opportunity, but he didn't. So my vote today is to deny.
Mr. Lee, today your parole has been denied, and that will conclude our business with you today.
One more thing, sir. My lawyers was James Burke and Ronald Ware. And I told them from the beginning, they asked me,
All right, the Committee on Parole is called to order. We're resuming back at Rayburn Correctional Center at 11:52 a.m. Dealing with Mr. Montecino. Mr. Montecino, would you please state your full name and your DOC number for the record?
Paul Montesino, 394305.
All right, and we'll give you a brief explanation of the process, and then we'll go from there. I'll first read some information into the record and ask you to verify it. We'll give you a chance to speak first on your own behalf and tell us what it is you did to get yourself incarcerated and what have you done to help us with the decision to let you out. Then the warden will speak. Have one person in support for you, which will allow that person to speak. And then we'll conduct our parole interview. Your case is assigned to me, so I'm going to be the first one to question. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration Paul Montesino, DOC number 394305, who is a third felony offender who was convicted of crime against nature, habitual offender, attempted first-degree murder, habitual offender, and manslaughter on October 19th, 01, November 13th, 03, and August 10th, 05, and was sentenced to serve 3 years, 4 months hard labor, 40 years hard labor, and 25 years hard labor in Orleans and St. Tammany parishes. Your parole eligibility date is 9/15/21. Your good time date is not eligible. Your full term date is not 7/9/42. Does that information sound correct to you, Mr. Montesino?
Yes, sir, it's correct.
All right. Now it's your turn. Tell us, what did you do to end yourself up in jail? And what have you done while you're there to help us with a decision to let you go? Why you think it would be a good time to let you go?
The lifestyle I was living in was reckless. I was on drugs. I didn't have self-respect for life, myself, mine or anything at all. And that's what got me here. The crimes that I committed in that mind frame. Although I wasn't gonna I wasn't happy with who I was, and I didn't want to be that person. And so I wasn't gonna let my incarceration be in vain. I utilized every opportunity I could to turn my life around, and I helped.
All right. Warden, you got anything to tell us about his behavior? And
he's been here since 2017. He's a mentor here, facilitates some classes, always doing a good thing and tried to lead by example here at RCC.
thank you. Okay, today we have one person on Zoom in support. Your mother, Miss Miriam Pizzolo. Miss Miriam, did I get that right? All right, go ahead. We can't hear you.
Mute.
Okay, I'm sorry. First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come before you and express my support for my son and speak on his behalf. And if it's okay, I would like to read what I wrote. I'm kind of nervous and I'm not a good speaker. Is it possible that I could read it?
Sure.
Okay. My name is Miriam Pizzatolo, and I'm Paul's mother. My late husband and I have had a front row seat watching Paul's transformation from the angry person using drugs years ago to the hardworking, responsible person he is today. I truly believe that Paul has turned his life around, and if granted parole, he will be a productive person in the community. As a child, Paul was a loving son and brother, but 23 years ago, drugs played a major role in all his choices. Not that this is an excuse, but this was not the person he was as a child. Today, he is back to the loving son and brother. He is free of drugs and has totally a different outlook in life. His anger has turned into laughter. His sense of self-worth has increased. His realization that hard work is something to be proud of. He now realizes the value of an honest job and enjoys working. He now says his work is one of the most important things in his life. He has an eagerness to help other inmates discover the new way of life, of hard work, and being clean. I feel he has made great changes in the way he thinks, feels, deals with everyday life situations. I think most of all, he realized what life was like without drugs. He has finally found faith in God and faith in himself. Since being incarcerated, he has earned his GED. He has maintained a job in the warehouse at BB Rayburn for over 5 years, and I think he was selected along with 25 other inmates to live in the honor rooms. He is in the mentoring program. He is mentoring other inmates and helping them. He is constantly striving for perfection. I believe the programs that he has completed have really impacted his life and the way he thinks. He has also completed many other programs over the last 23 years. With that being said, I feel that with the support of his family, Paul will transition very well back into society. If Paul is granted parole with the support of his family, our plan is to bring him home to be with the family. We have a plan for him to work alongside his brother in the food truck business, in addition to helping Paul find a job in a warehouse. I believe that with his family support and his new view on life, Paul's transition back into society will be smooth. Again, I want to express our family support for Paul's release. I firmly believe that Paul has made progress in his rehabilitation and is ready to make a fresh start and become an active member in the community. His family is committed to supporting him and helping him back get on his feet. With that, I want to thank you for letting me speak today. My son, Anthony, could not be here. He works at a plant and doesn't have access to the phone during working hours, but I think he sent a letter that I think we sent the letter in. If you have a copy of it, I have it here as well, but I sent it in.
We have a copy.
You have a copy? Okay.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
All right. We don't have anyone here in opposition to speak today. However, we do have 2 letters in opposition, one from Ms. Workowicz and another from Mr. Hildebrand's brother. And both are showing strong opposition to release. We also have law enforcement comments through the pre-parole investigation showing that the judge in Orleans Parish is opposed, the district attorney in St. Tammany Parish is opposed, the sheriff is opposed, and so we have those letters of opposition there. Your case has been assigned to me, so I'm going to start the questioning and go with the first vote. Actually, I'm going to start with some of the details of the offenses committed, put on the record. Offense number 1 in Orleans, Mr. Montecino propositioned an undercover NOPD officer for sex during a sting operation and was arrested and charged with crime against nature. The second crime in St. Tammany Parish, Mr. Montecino was charged with manslaughter after killing a man during a dispute regarding a sexual encounter. Mr. Montecino wanted to have sex with a man and a woman he met earlier during the day, When the man tried to protect the woman from Mr. Montesino pulled a gun and shot him in the chest, killing him. The third crime occurs in St. Tammany Parish, where Mr. Montesino is charged with attempted second-degree murder after a fellow inmate who was working in conjunction with police turned him in after he tried to hire the inmate to kill the witness against Mr. Montesino in his upcoming murder trial. Mr. Montesino was found guilty by a jury of attempted second-degree murder and sentenced to 35 years DOC. Mr. Montesino was also found guilty of being a multiple offender and was resentenced to 40 years in DOC. So here comes the first question. I see that your FBI rap sheet, there's a warrant for you for a sexual charge in Colorado that you pled guilty to in 1991 and failed to appear for sentencing. Can you tell me anything about that? Is that solved yet, or you got to go back, or what's up with that?
It was nullified. That's been resolved. It was a consensual sex. It was a consensual sex, and the person said that it was, and they dropped the charges.
Quite different than what I see on the record, but
They went ahead and said, asked me to plead to
sexual assault.
No, not sexual assault. No, I didn't even do any time on that charge. It was 30 days. They gave me I spent 30 days in the jail, and they told me that it was that the person said what happened was the person's sister was the one that was trying to say this, and then the other person said no, it didn't happen like that, and they released me. I was released.
So let me just leave this with you. If you do get out, you need to check back with Colorado so it doesn't come back and haunt you later time. Because the information that I'm seeing says that you pled guilty on 11091, and then you didn't appear for sentencing, so that's why you didn't go to jail. That's what I see. Now, whether that's right or wrong, I haven't verified it with Colorado, but you need to follow up on it because that could be a warrant to come back and haunt you. I'm looking at your supervision record, and what I see is it says 5 periods of supervision and 5 times revoked. Is that, you agree with that?
Yes, sir. In 97, I had a 2-year probation on cocaine, and I was in the peak of my addiction, and I violated it. Yes, sir. I violated it. I wound up doing day for day the 2 years on that in 97. Yes, sir. Exactly.
Have you taken any of the victim awareness classes or any of the victim training there?
Yes, sir.
I don't see that in your record. Can anybody verify that he took the victim classes?
We're checking.
All right. While they're looking for that, Mr. Montesino, what happened that day to make you kill Mr. Hildebrand? What was the excuse for that action?
Living in a home with my girlfriend. She was out of town. It was a really nice house. I went to the city and I met Mr. Al, my friend, and we did drugs together, and I offered them to come back to the house. And I knew that they were dangerous. I mean, I knew he had told me things about, things he'd done, but I still, they were like friends of mine. And we came back to the house and we did a lot of drugs. And when it ran out, I'm reading body language. I'm seeing that I knew they were gonna rob me. And it wasn't even my gun. It was a gun that was, I've never owned a gun like that. And so I seen the gun and I picked it up and told them it's time to go. We need to leave. Because they didn't want to leave. When I said it was time to go, you know, because I seen them looking around and stuff. And when I said it was time to go, they said they didn't have anywhere to go. And I said, well, rather than, you know, I tried to use the gun to scare them, say, come on, hey, I'm saying let's go. And they didn't even pay any attention to that. And I guess I've never handled a 357 before, a handgun really. And I guess I tried to emphasize on that and I pulled the hammer back and I said, I'm serious, y'all need to leave. And I was aiming the gun and it went off. It was not intentional at all. I was, you know, I was in shock when it happened. And you know, I did not intend to kill anybody, and it wasn't about anything other than my fear of being robbed. And as soon as it happened, I got on the phone and I called the police and asked for an ambulance. And that's what happened.
So we don't see here, do you remember when you took that? We see a lot, but we don't see that.
It was just recently, a violent. I've got a copy of the certificate.
Okay, so it's something you just completed?
Yeah, just
Okay.
completed, but I had taken victim awareness in the pre-release too. I was familiar with it. And I'm aware of the victim awareness and all the victims that it's countless amount of victims that people suffer, you know, everybody's mother, family, friends. I mean, the ripple effect of victims is ongoing. I mean, you just, there's no counting. And so I'm definitely aware of.
All right. We'll accept that as good for now. That's all the questions I had. Mr. Do you have any questions?
How old are you, Mr. Martinko?
How old am I now? Yeah, I'm 59.
And you've been in prison for 23 years?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I would just like to know, were you planning on having sex, with that couple when you got back to that house?
No, sir. Not whatsoever.
It looks like, sex gets you in trouble a lot, huh?
It did. I mean, you know, but I hadn't had any problems. You know, that wasn't the case then. And the thing in Colorado, I can surely clarify that. That was not. That is not what it's reading to be. You know, I can definitely get some clarity on clarification on that. They wouldn't have released me 30 days afterwards had I not. They released me at my own reconnaissance on it. I would have never been released.
The only other thing that's really bothering me is trying to hire a prisoner to kill the witness. What do you have to say about that?
I wasn't thinking correctly. I still had drugs in my system. I was a wreck. You know, I didn't have God in my life at the time. And, you know, instead of seeking support from people that are positive and on the right track, I sought support from the wrong people and the wrong ideas got into my head. You know, since then, through my relationship with God, I make better choices. I consider the consequences of everything before. I tell these guys all the time, even if you take a moment, even if it's just a few seconds, try to take a moment to consider the consequences before you make any decisions. And I avoid the places and people that involve
themselves with criminal activity. You know. I just was just wondering about the hiring. So you admit you did do that, but it was just, you're saying your mind still wasn't in the right place. Oh, so it wasn't. I was lost. I was a lost soul. I didn't have God in my life. I sought support from the wrong places. That wasn't. You explained it well enough to me. I have no further questions.
All right, is the board ready to vote?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Montesino, I see you've been doing pretty well in jail. And I commend you for that. You've taken a lot of classes, you have a lot of training, you're talking different right now. However, there's a dead person involved here, a solicitation for murder from jail. I'm gonna have to vote to deny your parole today due to the violent nature of the crimes, including multiple victims, the solicitation for murder of the victim to avoid prosecution, strong victim and law enforcement opposition, and your prior supervision record. I don't want you to go back to the dorm hopeless, because you are heading in the right direction. Apply again, don't be discouraged, apply again, continue with the classes, and you may get a different result in the next round. But at this point, like I've heard people say, the debt has not been paid yet for the death of that man and all the other crimes.
Okay, yeah, my problem is that it looks like, sex offenses lead to all your troubles. And, they got sex offender classes there. I know you're not a sex offender, you're not required to take them. But I would suggest taking at least the first phase or the second phase, try to figure out why we got to go proposition hookers, why we got to proposition undercover officers. You claim it wasn't a sexual encounter, but they claim in the report that that's what y'all was going to do, to have sex, the three of y'all. And then the Colorado incident is still not resolved. I do think you have a warrant from that case. We will check, because if you didn't show up for sentencing, that definitely would be a warrant. But today is just not your time. My vote is to deny.
I'd like to note for the record that you do have quite a bit of good time credit that you have built up. And so you've been doing some good programming. Obviously, 2019 was your last write-up. I'm going to concur with my colleagues today, but I do want to tell you that I think you are very close to being where you need to be released, in my opinion. Okay. So I'm going to deny today, but you don't have much more. Okay.
All right. So, Mr. Montesino, at least I got your name right. Not messed up your mama's. This concludes our business with you today, but keep up the good work and apply as soon as you're eligible and give it another shot. I think you're heading in the right direction.
Thank you, sir. Well, he didn't realize. Let him out. Yeah. So, they're closing up.
Hey, we got one more.
I was just unmuted.
Okay, got nervous.
We're done.
Yeah, we was trying to go.
All right. Committee on Parole is called back to order today. Time is 12:23 p.m. We're returning to Rayburn Correctional Center. And we have Mr. Blade. Mr. Blade, would you please give us your full name and your DOC number for the record?
Sterling Jerome Blade, 405748.
All right. Give you a brief explanation of how the procedure works. We're gonna give you, I'm gonna read some information into the record and ask you to verify it about your eligibility. We're gonna give you a chance to speak first and let us know what you did to get in jail and what you've done while you're in jail and why do you think today is a good day for us to grant you parole. Then we ask the warden for some information. We will give opposition and supporters a chance to speak, and then we'll conduct the parole interview. So let's begin. Today we have for parole consideration Sterling Blade, DOC number 405748, who is a third felony offender who was convicted of unauthorized entry of an inhabited dwelling habitual offender. And on May 30th, 2006, was sentenced to serve 25 years hard labor in Rapides Parish. Parole eligibility date is 1/29/12. Your good time date is 11/3/29, and your full term date is 10/29/30. Does that information sound correct to you?
That's correct.
All right. Well, it's your turn to speak. Go ahead and tell us what you did to end yourself up in jail and what you've done while you're in jail and why you think we should release you.
Reason why I'm in jail is because I committed some crimes and started out as aggravated. Was aggravated kidnapping, second degree kidnapping, aggravated assault, unauthorized entry. The matter went to trial after maybe 15, 16 months. In trial, they dropped all the charges except the unauthorized entry of them and inhabited the dwelling because I entered a structure of a friend of a girlfriend that I was dating at that time. And I kicked her door frame down. That's why I'm in here in jail today as a habitual offender, because I have 10 felonies, 4 felonies within 10 years. And since I've been here, I've been started a path of recovery since day one. I've been in classes way before I could get good time, run my CTP credit scores up, started out taking like courses like 12-step recovery, AANA, programming unit, AVAL, communication roadblocks, thinking for a change, HIV/AIDS awareness, celebrate recovery, gauge your age, basic education treatment group for the sex offense I called in 1998. I participated in the automotive technician course for like 12, 13, 14 months. And since then, since I've been here at Rayburn, I've been cooking off and on for maybe about 3.5, 4 years, roughly, outside of me taking the automotive course. I've been staying on the job, staying productive, staying out the way, trying to follow the rules of the land, because that's the way to be. And I think I deserve another chance because it's been a long, hard, difficult road for me. I know I got write-ups in my jacket, but here lately, in the last maybe 5-6 years, I've been trying to stay pretty clean and stay right up free. It's probably the longest I've been right up free since I've been down.
When would you last ride up? 2020?
Yes, sir. August of 2020.
All right.
It was for a theft. I left the kitchen with some unauthorized food items.
That's all you want to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Warren, can you tell us a little bit about
As he said, he does have a history of some disciplinary issues. It does look like since about 18, it's gotten much better and much improved, and he hasn't had one since 2020. He does work in the kitchen and he's taken a good many classes.
We don't have anybody wanting to appear and speak today in support or in opposition, but we do have some opposition listed in the investigation. From the district attorney's office is opposed, the sheriff's office is opposed, and the chief of police is opposed. So we do have some opposition. Ms. Ledoux is the board member who's been assigned your case. So she is going to start the questioning.
So, when was the last time? Did you have a parole hearing before? You've had a parole hearing before, correct?
3.
Yes, ma'am. Last year in April.
And at that time, you got 2 votes for grant and 1 to deny, or that's last year?
That was it, right?
I believe it was 1
To
to
grant.
grant and 2 to deny. Because of a parole violation, 2003 parole violation.
And at this time, you have taken all 3 phases of your sex offender treatment?
Yes, ma'am. I took all 4 phases. Not only that, I took a facilitator course too, called Making Things for Good. And I facilitated that outside of that for roughly a year.
And you're not on the sex offense on this particular instant offense. So that was in a previous.
Yes, ma'am. That was in 1998.
What were your release plans?
My release plans, I had filled out an interstate compact to Dallas, Texas, to live with a female cousin of mine.
And has that been approved? What do you want to do in terms of work? I know you've done some automotive, so you have a skill that you can earn a living with, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's not the only skill I have. I can cook too.
Those are in great demand.
Ma'am, I've been trying. That's about what I have under my belt so far since I've been here. I've been cooking my whole jokes the whole time I've been down. But I really got better at what I do since I've been here at Rayburn. Because I've been like almost a head cook for like what, 2, almost 3 years at some point.
Okay.
And they give certificates for that, job training skills.
So when they dropped the aggravated kidnapping, that was actually a kind of a plea bargain, right? When they dropped, because you only got a 25-year sentence.
No, ma'am, it wasn't a plea bargain. The charges was aggravated kidnapping, 2nd-degree kidnapping, aggravated assault, unauthorized entry. 3 of those charges was dropped. And when I went to trial on unauthorized entry, that's when they come back with a guilty verdict on unauthorized entry, and by me having 10 felonies within 10 years, That's how I come up with the 25-year sentence as a habitual felon in 2006. Yes, ma'am.
His residency plan has been approved.
To go to Dallas.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I see your history is not good. You've had a lot of arrests. You're, third or fourth felony offender. But the things you've done since you've been there lead me to believe that you may have an opportunity for success. I'd like to go into executive session. If anyone would second that.
I'll second.
Yes.
Yes.
Jerry Ledoux.
Yeah.
Danny Bowers.
Yes. All right, we returned from executive session. Mr. Blade, I have a question for you. What was it that caused you to do what you did that day? Was it anger? Was it drugs? Was it a combination? What made you do what you did on that day when you went in there with a gun, threw the lady over your shoulder, dragged her outside, threatened her? Tell us a little bit about the reality of that day and what happened that day.
My environment shaped me and raised me in bold because the things I was seeing around at the time as an adolescent coming up in the household, abusive stepfather to my mother. I thought that was what real love was. And that's not what real love is. And that's what, it wasn't just the drugs and the alcohol. That was mainly what it was. I was raised in a home like that. And when I got older, I started going through pain and habits and hurts and them attachments. So I didn't know how to deal with it at that time. So I come on this side and I started taking these programs, getting into one, getting another, and kept that process going for myself, talking to my family members, disconnecting myself from the people that ain't need me no good. And that's where I'm at here today still.
How long have you been on this charge?
Since 2006.
Joe?
Sir?
You don't know how many years you've been in prison?
Quick call.
Like
19.
Right at, yes, sir.
I have no further questions. I'm sorry I interrupted.
All right, no problem. I don't have any further questions either. So we are ready to vote. Mr. Duke, you're first.
Yeah. In your last couple of hearings, you were asked to take sex offender treatment program, and you have done that, and you have done your even the training for that. Your conduct has been acceptable. My vote today is to grant to your out-of-state contact to Texas. And I don't have any further conditions on that.
Mr. Freeman?
Okay, I think you've done well lately since 2019. You have an out-of-state plan to go to Texas. I do not want you around that victim whatsoever. Even if she calls or whatever, you are not to go around the victim. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, my vote today is gonna be to grant you parole to Texas. Okay? You change your mind and don't go to Texas, all but that's all, okay? But you got to approve compact, so I approve you to your residence plan in Texas.
Thanks, sir.
All right, Mr. Blade, I'm gonna also vote to grant you parole today, but on the condition that once you're out and on the street, that you complete another substance abuse evaluation and another anger management class, just to make sure that you have connected with those ties, should you feel to slip on any one of those two. I just want to make sure that you're really going to be all in. So that'll be after your release, but you'll be granted parole today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
All right, this will conclude our business with Mr. Blade today. It will also conclude our business at Raven Correctional Center. The parole board will adjourn today at 12:39 a.m. Good luck to you.
Thank you,
Thank
board.
you.